Okay, y'all, I have a question that some of you are really not going to like, and it's this. Do we really need to own every single book that we've read, or every single book that we've thought about reading, might maybe read sometime in the near distant-ish future? Because honestly, y'all, I'm starting to think that the answer is no. Now, listen, don't get me wrong. I love reading, I love buying books, I love having books. Y'all know that that is all that we talk about around here. However, I think that a lot of us have gotten to a point where we really need to start taking a breath and asking ourselves, why am I buying so many books just to not read them? And trust me, this does not come from a place of judgment, because as somebody who avidly thrifts their books, those $2.99, $3.99, $4.99 book deals get to my head sometimes, and I walk out of there with 10, 20 new books that I don't even know when I'm gonna read, have never heard of, or maybe I picked it up only because I've heard of it somewhere, and it's not gonna happen. I'm not gonna read them. Or if I do read them, I'm not going to love them. So when I say that this is something that I have had to work on myself, I mean it, okay? And with the ongoing rise and takeover of social media, specifically TikTok and Booktok, it totally makes sense why on our feeds reading looks perfectly aesthetic and curated and organized. The pretty shelves and the constant hauls and the run, don't walk energy, it makes sense because influencers are trying to sell you something, because that is how they make their money, okay? Booktok and being a reader has become highly profitable online, so it does make sense that whenever you are scrolling on an influencer, they need you to know right away that they're trying to land on Booktok. And the way that they do that is by either immediately holding up a book, being like, you need to buy this, or, you know, they have their shelves behind them. It makes sense. They are trying to build a visual brand. However, most of us are not on social media trying to sell people things and creating a visual brand. It is okay to just let your bookshelves be. It's okay to let them be real and honest to who you are as a person. Therefore, I think that it is time to have a more honest conversation with ourselves about when a book actually deserves a place in our collection. All that being said, hi, hello, how are you doing? My name is Cece and I make bookish content including blogs, reading wrap-ups, and commentary videos. All I ask is for y'all to stick around and hear what I have to say, and if you learn a thing or two or maybe agree with me, go ahead and click that subscribe button down below, leave a comment, leave a like, something that lets me know that I'm not wasting my time over here. Now, I have a couple of points that I want to get through today, but let's start with the influencer thing just to get it out of the way, because I just want to go ahead and separate us from the internet, okay? Now, one thing that I think people are kind of starting to recognize more and more is how different the reality is of an influencer online versus just your everyday people trying to live their lives. And when we are talking about Booktokers, I just want to get one thing out of the way. And it is that a lot of these people are, 1, sent PR, 2, are put on book subscriptions like Book of the Month just for the purpose of promoting them, 3, are gifted arcs or even whole series for the purpose of being able to talk about them online, or 4, go out and purchase massive hauls knowing that they will be able to write them off and make money off of the content. And listen, there is nothing wrong with these things. I have nothing against influencers. In fact, I would love to be one myself, hence the camera that I'm talking to right now. But I do just want to acknowledge that an influencer's relationship with books and with reading is going to be fundamentally different from everybody else. And whenever we try to replicate that aesthetic and that behavior without the same resources, it can very quickly turn into a lot more pressure and a lot more financial stress than you might anticipate. So I just want to go ahead and put that out there and break that down and let you know that we are not competing with anybody. Your only job as a reader is to find books that you love and to enjoy them and to cherish them. That's it. Now, let's say that you just love shopping. You love buying books. You know what? That's fair, girl. Me too. I think that one of the arguments that we hear a lot is, well, buying books is a great thing because we're supporting bookstores. And yes, that is a great thing. I'll give you that one. That's a great thing. That is, if you are actually shopping at local bookstores or even your local Barnes & Noble instead of buying off of, you know, Amazon. But what supporting bookstores does not mean is auto-buying books, buying books that you don't actually want, buying books that you don't actually need, and overspending on books whenever, if we're being honest with ourselves, we don't really have the money. It's okay. It's okay. We're all a little broke right now. Let's be honest with ourselves. I know we've all seen the price of groceries lately, and listen, if the option comes between eating for the week and buying books, I just want you to know that there are other options for reading out there. There are. It is amazing to support local businesses whenever you can, but you come first and your finances come first, okay? And listen, even if you have the money, because listen, I'm not in your wallet, I'm not in your purse. Even if you have the money, there is something to be said for saving it for things that you really want and need, investing, etc. I'm not going to tell you what to do. I'm not going to tell you what to do. It's just a suggestion, okay? And as for those other options for reading, I just want to point out that borrowing books from the library is not the lesser option here. There is nothing negative or shameful about borrowing your books from the library. And if you're asking me, I think that it's actually something to brag about, because if you want to support your community, let's get real local and walk into your library. Libraries are one of the last completely free public institutions that we have that are built completely around access. And they have so many resources, and they help people so much more than you might actually know. So whenever you walk into your library and you borrow a book, you are directly contributing to that library's statistics, funding, and preservation. I think that that's pretty cool. And hey, let's say that you don't have a car, or you just don't want to go and drive to the library. That's fine. If you didn't already know, which I'm assuming a lot of you do, if you didn't already know, there are plenty of resources online, with my personal favorite being the Libby app. Once you get your library card, you can connect this directly to your county and browse books from literally any library in your county. I love it. It's amazing. You can read on your phone. If you have an iPad, if you have a Kindle, you can send books directly there. That's what I personally do. And if you don't have a library card, or if you just want some other options, I've also heard great things about Project Gutenberg for free classic books, and BookBub, which offers heavily discounted ebooks. And you might guess where this is going, but one of my favorite things to do is to borrow a book, see how I actually feel about it, and if I absolutely love a book, then putting it on my list of books to buy. And then whenever it's my birthday, or I just want to treat myself, or if I do run into this book at the thrift store, if the thrift gods are willing, I will go ahead and pick it up for myself. And I find this a really great way to build my physical collection without building my physical TBR, because I think that we all understand the physical TBR stress. Okay, I think I have 74 books on my physical TBR right now. I'm not trying to add to that. And listen, buying your books slower is not a form of deprivation. Like I mentioned, we are all kind of in an economic state where a lot of people are cutting back, reevaluating their priorities, and budgeting more carefully. I would actually say that it is a form of self-care to take care of yourself financially, because this makes a big impact on your long-term success. It is not some kind of moral failure that you cannot go out and buy 20, 30 books at a time every single month, or even every couple of months. It is just a responsible decision that you are making for yourself. And even if you do prefer to read all of your books physically and to actually own them, I would at the very least suggest that you go out and buy books as you are ready to read them, to avoid overbuying. And if for some reason you don't end up loving them, you can go ahead and donate them to thrift stores, little free libraries, or even your local library will sometimes take books. That way that book gets a new life and a new chance at being loved and appreciated. Now, I know that the sentence, "stop buying books," might sound a little bit extremist, but the core of what I'm trying to say is that not every book is meant to be owned, and that is okay. Some books are going to be enjoyed once. Some books might be thought-provoking in the moment, but once you gain some distance from them, you don't even really remember what they are about. And some books are just entertaining and that's it. They're not life-changing, and we don't need to keep them for forever. Owning a book does not automatically make it more meaningful to you, but remembering it and cherishing the feelings that you got from it will. In my opinion, your personal library should reflect what has moved you, what has changed you, and what has stuck with you throughout the years, instead of it just reflecting everything that you've ever consumed, ever. This does tie back to the conversation on overconsumption that we have been having, which again is not based off of numbers alone. It is based off of your pace and off of your intent. When you are buying faster than you are reading, whenever your shelves are growing more than your progress is, and whenever your excitement comes with the purchase itself instead of picking up a good book, this is how you know that maybe it is time to cut back. And again, I want to be very clear about what I am not saying here. What I am not saying is to never buy a book again, that having a big collection is bad, or that physical media does not matter. I am 100% team physical media. Actually, let me throw this one in for free. Please never buy a book, especially full price, on your Kindle or your phone or anything, because you do not own that book. They can go in and change it at any time. They can remove it from that platform at any time and you will lose it. You are not buying the book, you are buying the license to borrow it. So yes, physical media does matter and I stand by that strongly. But what I am saying is that we do not need to auto buy every single book that we are interested in, that we have read, or that we might maybe read. And I do want to acknowledge that as a community, I do think that we have gotten a lot better about slowing down and about being intentional. I know that there are always going to be people on team overconsumption, but on my side of the internet, I have seen people slowing down, thinking more critically, and picking up books in a more meaningful way, which is absolutely amazing. That's what I'm trying to promote over here. But as we all know, social media makes money whenever we are buying, therefore it is going to keep pushing that overconsumption content, and I think that as long as we are able to separate ourselves from that, we are going to be okay. So this video is not about guilting you. I just wanted to go in and reinforce this healthier alternative that we are starting to see more and more. 2026 is all about being intentional for me, and with that, I want to reframe reading like this. I want to borrow freely, buy intentionally, build my collection slowly, and keep what matters to me. Reading does not become more valid just because you buy more books. And the number of books on your shelves does not make you more or less of a reader. Supporting this community does not just mean supporting bookstores. We should also be supporting libraries, donating books where we can, and again, first and foremost, supporting ourselves financially. Some books are meant to be read, returned, and remembered, while others are going to earn a more permanent place on our shelves and in our hearts, but both are completely valid. This is all about you and your journey as a reader. That's all I have for you today, and I'm really curious to hear y'all's thoughts. Let me know whether you prefer buying straight away, borrowing, or whether you've ever fallen victim to auto buying because a blurb sounded good on TikTok. I know that I have. I am just a girl after all. If any of this resonated with you, go ahead and like this video and subscribe for more content like it, and I will see y'all next week. Bye.